Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Shadowverse. Let's see what the missions are. Oh, been logged out too long, so back to the title screen we go. Last time we did Dragspear's story and it kind of power creep Dragspear, but it didn't really give any kind of like backstory. And I feel like this is where you would probably need to write the main story, is that each character would need to just like go back further and further in its history so that you just got more character development from their past if you're not capable of doing character development in the present. Now, there's no real reason why they can't do character development in the present, but that they've really failed to do much of it. And the general theme, as far as what I'm getting when I'm actually even paying attention, is that this new world is kind of pushing them back to bad habits, or old bad habits, or just new bad habits. Let's see what Luna's story is. We kind of already know what her story is, and that she's going to be following the one guy around for a while, and if she's written like the way she was written before, Luna's gonna just be this like kind of ignorant child that just follows people around like a puppy dog, where she needs to really be able to either speak her mind and say, oh, she's trying to do something to unbind her parent souls, and she thinks that the guy she's following will help her in that way. And you can have her be soft-spoken and few-spoken, that's fine, but you can't just have her be just an idiot child that's just like, I don't know, I'm just gonna follow this character because the story wants it to happen.
Where am I? I don't know. Where should I go? Where?
Now I don't
know.
Bother?
Bother?
I'm not upset with her not really knowing what to do or where to go, but I'm a little upset that you have like Dragspear and Arissa and not really knowing where to go.
Sleeping? Something strange about this guy.
Marlone, I'm starving. Food.
So apparently there's a character called Marlone.
What are you saying?
Who's there? Sorry. I was half asleep.
Are you going to hurt me?
No. Sorry, I sent someone there, so I just...
No.
So apparently he doesn't seem to see the ghosts.
Necromancy? You're just a kid. What's this all about?
Interesting. So necromancy does exist in this world, and yet there's no necromancy guild, which kind of implies that he might be a necromancer. Which, okay, that does open the door where he could teach her how to use he could teach her to use necromancy and kind of grow up in power.
No. I don't remember anyone like you. Don't think there were any necromancers to begin with.
You're scaring me.
So I wonder if he at one time worked with the Mages Guild.
This old man's scaring me.
Old? I'm not... No, I guess I must look old to a kid your age. Kids aren't really my strong suit. Can't say I really understand them, but anyway, I'll back off, and I'll apologize. So would you cut it?
Why? Why are you being so mean to me?
Yeah, this is really just translating kind of terribly.
A habit.
Stop saying weird stuff. I'm not going to attack you.
She just attacked him.
So, and I'm not about to duel with a child.
Duel? No, it's not like that. I don't even know. But I hate you.
kids aren't really my strong suit.
So
I can't just ignore her, can I? Makes my heart ache.
yeah,
And that power
she's just like too young of a character, frankly.
crush her at this rate.
Hmm.
I don't know about fixing her. I sure can't leave her to fend for herself. It looks like this is gonna be a busy day. First that guy in the funny armor, now this.
So he bumped into Dragspear first,
Better go after her.
then he
Well,
started
and any
chasing
monsters.
Luna. And so you can, with 8 characters, if you wanted to do interesting story, you could easily treat one character differently than the other characters. And by which I mean, in particular, are we gonna have network trouble? Let's go back to the title and see if something's going on with my network, or if something's going on with this game. Like, had you left Luna at a position where she was just left behind for 5 to 10 years, that would be rather interesting, because then the other 7 heroes could have like moved on from this point to a new world, and then for some reason Luna got deflected to a different world, like a wild land of necromancers, and she grows up wildly, maybe not a wild land of necromancers, but just like a wild land of just mostly dead people and dead animals, and she has to live on her own and grow up. Like, then you could have a whole point of conflict, a point of development.
That guy was really scary.
And
He isn't coming for me, is he?
and you could have her
What should I
power
do
creep,
now?
which her power creeping up is
remember
the
now.
most
Someone
important
dies.
one
That's it.
that you kind of need to have, because not because she's weak, but because she lacks understanding and control
So
of her
what do I do?
abilities.
What can I do to help Mother and Father? I don't know.
So yeah, if she was just kind of lost in a forest type
Huh?
storyline for 10 years, a lot like spoiler for a late season of the Buffy the Vampire
I don't want you to.
spin-off Angel, there's a certain point in Angel where a Angel, the main
Mother and Father
character,
said they're hurting.
has a
Why? I don't want anyone to hurt me. And I don't want to do
has a
this anymore.
child,
I
and
don't.
instead of writing entire seasons where this baby is included and involved, they simply just have the child taken to an alternate dimension where time moves differently, and by the next season, or the next episode even, the child is grown up as this teenager. So they skip over all the boring parts.
Get lost.
And this time a wolf
You don't know
attacks
how to take no for an answer.
instead
I don't like
of
that much.
instead of a magical creature attacking her.
People stay away from this hill, and so the monsters run wild. I forgot to tell you that.
So is he
You come to save me?
some kind of like
I
Beastmaster
suppose
type
so.
class?
Something got the better
He
of me.
controls and talks to animals?
Are you a good guy?
You don't know who I am, do you, you little squirt? Something in your reaction tipped me off.
I'm not a squirt. I'm Luna.
Luna, did you happen to come from another world?
But I thought that maybe I could help Mother and Father. So I went through the gate.
It's just, I don't know.
The gate. I see. Did you come alone?
No, there were some grown-ups who said to come with them, but they're not here now.
So something interfered.
So it seems like
I
she
don't know.
wasn't even really
And
paying
I
attention.
don't know who you are either. Who are you?
My name's Nicola Adele. You're Luna, right? Good to meet you.
You're scary.
And his name is Nicola Adele.
I hear
And in Magic the Gathering, there's a dragon
This
god
guy's
creature that's
It's
called
like he's
Nicola
scary,
Bolas.
but he's not.
Hmm.
You're kind of scary, but you helped me, so I won't be scared of you anymore.
And see,
Oh,
again, I said
that'd
she
be great. So,
would be a better character if
what
she
did
was
you come
5
here in
years
search of?
older and like a goth.
I want to help Mother
And
Father.
here you have a
Because of me.
older goth type
Ah,
character.
there, at your back.
Yeah, it's my fault. It's all.
This is bad. I'm starving.
Who cares?
Hmm.
There's a place I go a lot. I'm going there now. What about you? If you don't mind, we can talk there. I don't know how I'm supposed to deal with kids. Am I supposed to hold your hand or something?
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, she in the translation here, she kind of goes from swinging between like somewhere around I feel that some of her responses are almost at the age of like a 6, 7, 8-year-old, and then sometimes her responses are closer to a 13-year-old, 10, 11, 12-year-old, which, heck, writing for kids is hard, definitely, because they drastically change in their behaviors and their mental states in a matter of sometimes weeks, if not days. Whereas writing for an adult, adults are very locked into their behaviors and their mannerisms, and so you're not really going to be surprised that the character acts the same at all times. And it's very easy to write an adult character to act the same.
I'm fine.
I'd say all the other leaders are kind of poorly written,
That's why.
so that they are a little bit one note and single-minded.
Like a pie? That sounds scary.
Nothing scary about it. I'll hold you.
This guy can fly.
Hold on tight.
Okay, that's weird. Since everybody else has been teleporting.
Why do you have to be so mean?
Sorry, did that hurt?
Yeah, a lot. I knew I hated you.
Oh no, I'm very sorry. Are you all right, miss?
Who are you?
So then she bumps
Luna too.
into
Stay away.
this
I
Escamalde
hate
guy.
you.
Looks like she's not too happy with me.
So he literally,
You always act so aggressive.
so he just goes to Escamalde and tells him to give him food.
I will not listen to your excuses. Someone who was hurt just came to me. Please, apologize this instant.
Ah, that guy in the weird armor? Was he alright?
Did he seem all right to you? No, and he wasn't. On top of all the problems you cause everyone, now you've even hurt a small child?
She isn't hurt.
I'm simply at a loss for words. Miss, everything is okay now that I'm here.
Who are you, old man?
Old man?
Very Japanese.
So you're a geezer now too. I guess you've been getting
Localization that's not being really translated
No, I have not.
any better than
I would
than
ask
it
you not
could
to
be.
call me old.
But yeah.
Who are you? Are you nice?
I am Marlone Median, and yes, I am
Like,
nice.
more
Are
than
you
likely,
hungry?
I would say she's probably calling them
A little.
in Japanese something
Look,
like
I just
Oji-san,
to bring lunch
OJI,
Let's eat.
as compared to being called Oni-san, O-N-I, which means brother, but doesn't always inherently mean a biological brother, just someone closer
I'm at a loss
to
for what to do.
you in your age.
Another present from Magus, huh?
Or
Just when I'm about to collapse out of hunger.
she might be
I'll fix
calling
this in
him
an instant.
like
That's not acceptable.
some other
How many times do I have to
derivation of
explain?
sensei
If you cause a ruckus in the town, you'll completely
or
destroy the
senpai
place.
that also includes the old
Doing what
honorific.
I can to take
In
it
the
easy.
Japanese language, if you're spending the extra effort to call someone old, you're effectively spending the extra effort to insult them.
Why? How come you're so mean to me?
And nobody wants to be called old, but in Japan that's specifically the case.
I don't get it. How come? I hate you. I hate mean people. I hate you so much.
I guess Luna is supposed to be crazy, but I don't know if you can really write the story here
I hate
where
you.
she is
Hate you.
still just
Hate you.
dealing with like major anger issues or schizophrenia, as she was hearing voices before. I mean, I would really have called that probably a temporary schizophrenia
No,
brought on
I
by
wouldn't
trauma.
say that she's mastered it yet.
Why? Why are you all so mean? I don't want to hurt Mother and Father. I don't want to.
And it does make this
She has. Where did you find this
This
child anyway, Nicola?
situation where every time she uses her
Up on the
power
usual hill.
is potentially
I'm not sure, but
hurting,
she's probably
or
from
she at
another
least
world, too.
thinks she's hurting her
Positive?
parents' souls every time she uses it,
I said probably.
which might be the case.
Ah, that's right,
You
isn't
just
it?
don't really
At
know.
any rate, we need her to calm down. Have a seat here, miss.
How come?
Let's have some scrumptious sandwiches. They're handmade Marlone Median originals.
Are they really yummy?
I wouldn't go that far. I'd say they're just okay.
Nicola, your input isn't needed here.
All I'm telling is the truth.
Come on now, eat up. I've brought soup as well.
Okay.
I'm sorry. My mechanical core isn't doing so well, so I can't help myself.
Is
It's
he
okay.
some kind of
I'm
robot?
not-
Good to hear. Now give me mine, Marlon.
Like
All
cyborg?
right, but she seems afraid now. Would you please wait till later to eat?
I'm not scared of him anymore. I
Hmm.
was before, but not now.
Oh, still, I don't exactly want you to have to see him eating.
Yeah.
You're right. I'll eat later.
I'm sorry, Nicola.
Nah, I should be the one to apologize. Sorry for everything.
So
Come on, have as many as you
apparently he is some kind of like robot, maybe not human at all.
Do you like it?
It's okay.
Well now,
It's okay, but it's really good. It's like the sandwiches that Mother used to make. It's
Well-
way different, but still.
I don't know why she wouldn't say that out loud.
Why did you pat my head?
Do I need a reason?
And see, they didn't animate that, so that would have been an action that really should have been animated.
Hands are big and strong, like Father's. Mother.
Hey. What's got you crying? Was I too strong? Did it hurt?
that isn't it, Nicola. She's probably been sad the entire time. She needed to cry.
Mother. Father.
Yep. This section here kind of highlights the lack of care that all the leaders have bothered to put
Cry, miss. There are
put
no
in
gods in this world.
into taking care of her.
I'm sure that your tears will be seen all the same.
Interesting, he just said there were no gods in this world, so I guess they're not really priests as much as just politicians. But it's also kind of funny. I would almost argue that a world that had no gods would probably not have the word gods in their vocabulary, unless of course they're just saying that in their history people believed in gods and now nobody believes in them, which is also kind of unbelievable. It's a weird phrase to use at any point. And that almost certainly translates very differently from Japanese, if a better localization team had it.
Mother. Father.
It's hard to watch anyone cry, but it's even harder when they're a kid. Do something, Marlon.
See, I think they should do what I suggested before. Of course, I would be in love with my own writing, as any writer would be my own suggestions. But this would be a great point to move her story forward, at least to the point where her mother's and father's souls are put to rest, so they don't have to use that animation anymore. Or
you're a growing girl, you need to have at least one whole sandwich.
and then she doesn't have to say mother and father the whole time. You just shoved it in her mouth.
You can't just shove things into other people's
Again, that should have been animated.
Sometimes you gotta. Did you chomp that down? There you go. Have a
And
pat on the head.
if you're not paying attention,
You're not gonna get the nutrition
he's
you
treating her
need
more like a
just one,
dog
though. Here,
more
have
than
another.
anything.
Open wide.
I can't allow you to do that, Nicola.
It was a joke. Don't get so bent out of shape.
Your jokes are too aggressive.
Are you two guys friends?
Hmm.
Friends? Marlon and I?
I'm less a friend and more someone who's taken it upon himself to care for Nicola.
Yeah.
He's my sandwich artist.
Oh,
Don't get so bent out of shape, I said. Come here, Luna. We're running away.
Nicola, you're being too aggressive again.
See you, Marlon.
So I guess he
Luna and I
probably
are
grabbed her
taking
arm
a
at that
jaunt.
point.
Oh my, please be careful and don't
So the
get
Eskimo, they
involved in
seem
anything.
to have some kind of magical
I
power,
know. Let's go, Luna.
but it would be odd if it actually was a Havencraft
I'm
power.
not so sure about this. It's rather worrying.
It would be kind of funny though if there was in this world
You don't wanna see
a
him angry.
atheist Havencraft guild that didn't believe in a god but still used the creatures like angels and such in their spells and in their
I thought I'd show you around.
kind of relics.
Where are we?
This is the land of Isunia. To put it nice and simple, there's a lot of water and there are 5 guilds. If you came here from another world, you don't know about the guilds, do you?
But yeah, they should put her parents' souls to rest.
Is it really true?
Maybe
Anyone
then
who
you have her
visits
capture the
treated as
souls
a
of
guild?
somebody else, and then you can reuse that animation later.
That guy just flew away.
Some people think that if they can beat me, then they'll get to be a guild too. But let me tell you, you don't want to be a guild.
How come you're a guild?
Good question.
Can't say for sure. People think of me as a real hellspawn, some sort of monster.
Hellspawn?
What are you doing, you brat? You little hellspawn!
Nice flashback.
I don't think I'm such a bad monster, though. I'm just an okay monster. I can barely activate.
An okay monster? You're weird.
Yeah, I really wouldn't think of him as like a demon.
Anyway, it's this way.
And again, if you can't write Luna to have any character development or character growth, which are different things, if you can't write her to have any character growth in the present time, you could have her have flashbacks to her parents and then remember things her parents said when she was too young to understand, and gain new understanding, enlightenment from her old memories, and that could then help her grow in the current storyline. What's going on here?
I died. How many times? How many times has this happened before? It's nice and cool. After each death, this body gets less and less familiar. Carved up, twisted, sewn up, and patched
Is he like a Frankenstein creature?
I'm a monster. Even my food isn't the same as the humans. Why did I come here anyway? I forgot. It had to be an experiment. Something like that. I got beaten up with some crazy weapon, and then there's some sort of off-the-wall explanation.
So he might be from a different world.
And everything was different. Okay. This should do it. Finally. I had no reason to live. Regular maintenance was the only thing that had been keeping me alive. I closed my eyes and pushed my consciousness.
So
deep
he's
down.
the anime equivalent of
I
a
thought I'd drown
RoboCop,
here in this world.
I think, probably made by
Figure
the
out some
Mages
way to
Guild.
die.
Oh, what seems to be the matter?
A particularly clear voice got in my way. Nothing. I'm fine. You can just leave me alone and...
This is one of my favorite places.
Who did this oddball think he was? Something about him seemed fishy. Oh? That's why I tried to flee. If I'd been able to die, anywhere would have been fine.
Is this your
It
first
feels
time
like
in
he
this
might be cursed with
My legs didn't
immortality,
stop because he seemed unsure. They
So-
stopped because
that makes him an
He's so
interesting counter
land? Where is
balance
it that
to
you intend
Luna.
go?
what's it to you?
This place is a bit too spacious to go wandering around without any destination.
I'm not wandering.
I'm not 100% sure
Place I want to go.
where the story can
Is
go
it somewhere below
forward,
the earth, above the sky?
because
The destination is
either
That's when I finally realized.
Nicola or
The man standing before
Marlon,
my eyes was no ordinary human. He'd been able to see through me for the most part.
one of these two characters need to be able to help her learn her
how
skill
I wish
more.
you wouldn't
Otherwise,
say that.
this is just going to be yet another pointless chapter where kind of nothing happens.
He just kept on grinning. I thought about punching him, but when I lifted my fist,
Please take a look at the scenery before you.
he began talking
And
out of
again-
nowhere. And out of shock, I opened my mouth.
This
What are
might
you
be
supposed to
Nerva.
be?
I enjoy getting in the way of people who want to die.
Huh?
Well, I managed to go on living. It's only fair that you do the same.
It was a smile to wipe away any irritation or doubts. Or was it the face of someone who was ready to battle?
You know what it
Take a
could
look
be
over there.
is that each
That's
of the
in my
guild
head, it
masters,
encouraged me.
each of like the main
It
characters,
was beautiful. The
are
network of
like
canals shimmered.
re-
In the distance, there was
replacements or children of Nerva from the
That's
word
why
go.
this place is one of my
And each one of
favorites.
them is
Doesn't
leading the
make you want
guilds to a
go on
war.
living.
Uh,
So beautiful.
And then there would be actually 4
I am
bad guys instead of like
Nicola
just
Adele.
one main bad guy that we're
What do you
trying to
say,
figure out
Nicola?
who that
Would you like
is.
to have some tea at my temple?
Of course, that doesn't really
I'm
work
fine.
either, because then it
Oh, so you don't
undermines
enjoy tea then?
the
Can't eat human food.
leaders
Can't drink human
of all the
drinks.
guilds and
Then
their
what is it
character
that you-
development.
Or I thought I'd give him a bit of a shock, but his face didn't change a bit.
All right then.
You're a weird one.
Are you in any position to say that?
So what kind of ore does he
Suddenly
eat?
I realized
Just any kind of ore?
it's been quite a while since I last laughed.
Not even like a refined metal? He doesn't eat like pure silver or steel or gold. He just eats ore, which would be mostly just dirt and unimportant minerals.
You're yawning again.
It seems like he might have taken her shopping,
Change.
which that wouldn't have been a bad story too.
It's been a blue moon since I've seen you in town, and you're stumbling around again.
I'm not stumbling around. I'm showing Luna here the sights.
That little girl. I haven't seen her around before. Where's she from? You're shy, aren't you? Oh, what a little sweetheart. If only my daughter were as well behaved.
Oh, it's Nicola.
Yep.
Hey, Nicola.
And see, even here you
did something bad again.
have
What did you say,
like
young lady?
half a foot difference in height.
Room yet?
No.
Then get to it.
And
No,
just
I don't
weird
wanna.
voice
See,
dialects
Nicola.
over and over again. And it seems like the people aren't really afraid of Nicola.
I tell ya, that child, she gets lost just like that. Yeah, I'm sorry, Nicola, but I have to chase down that girl.
Right. Take care.
You know, Nicola
And
can
then
be a
she
little aggressive, but he's a nice man.
then
He'll
bends
beat up
down
all the
again.
bad guys for ya. But he's got a flighty streak in him. You seem like a down-to-earth young lady, though. So take good care of Nicola.
What did she just say to you?
She said you were nice.
Well, how about that? Let's go this way.
And so apparently he wasn't
You're sleeping, but
asleep
you're
the whole
still
time.
walking.
Like, so he was only sleeping in the part where
You're
we
weird.
saw before.
Luna! It's you.
Luna, you're here in this world too.
She hugged me. She's so nice.
And they don't animate that either. Like, kind of important
I've gotta go.
elements.
Wait, Luna, where is it you're going?
All there is this guy, so I'm going with him.
This guy? Luna, you should come with me then. That way. Ah!
Huh?
Are we going to do this?
Might as well. See, I just woke up, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to take it easy on you.
And so, yeah, you kind of have just a
She's
pointless fight for
Stand
no
back,
reason.
Luna. I can just tell that he's dangerous. So this is what I have to do.
No, please stop! Don't fight!
It might be some kind of necromancy that binds his soul to whatever mechanical body he has.
Luna, stay out of the way. That man is dangerous.
But
Try this on for size.
They're really failing to
You're
write
mad.
good conflict here.
You must be
Because-
Luna.
You're through.
Even by the time you're done with an individual leader's story, there really isn't enough justification for them to
Kidding.
head
I was leaving you with
blindly
everything that I had.
into war with
You wanna come
the
along?
guilds.
And where do you suggest we go?
That I haven't decided.
I'm afraid I have to say no then.
All right. Well, take care then.
Luna, do you really have to stay together with that person?
she looks so sad. I wonder if she wants to come with me. I don't know. He's just really nice. But he's been taking care of me now. He's like a father.
Sorry, Luna. She was someone you knew, wasn't she? I thought that she was another challenger.
You're still sleepy.
So she's like taking care of him.
I'm tired.
Maybe we should take a break then.
Yeah.
Okay, I know a good place. It's this way. Here, let me give you a piggyback ride.
Really?
And again, they're not going to animate
You're
that.
tired, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're light as a feather. Be sure you eat that sandwich from earlier.
No, I'm not hungry yet.
Quite the little princess, aren't you? Let's get going anyway.
So, yeah. I think we kind of know where the story is going. So, what would be the twist if you were going to write this well?
We're here.
At some point, you either need him to betray her, or someone to attack and hurt him pretty badly.
You're a big sleepyhead.
Eating and sleeping are about the
Something
only things I can do.
to motivate her to go to war.
Are you a monster?
Oh, I guess so. I'm a broken monster.
So you're like me.
I wouldn't say that. Even if it were true, I wouldn't say that.
How come? I'm a monster. I'm bad. I'm hurting Mother and Father.
I don't know what you mean, but you're probably wrong. You're tiny, and you're light as a feather.
But so is the Mage Guild.
Are huge. They're heavy. They're stronger than people. And they squash people. That's what makes them monsters. For example, you've got monsters like me.
So this is it.
And ones like this guy.
It's him.
Huh. Are you this so-called Nicola?
I am.
Magnificent! You brim with readiness for combat. You will show me your strength, will you not?
I don't mean to radiate anything. Luna, run away.
That girl is stronger than she appears. Are you sure you need not fight in tandem with her?
So he's not trying to take on two
Can't you see that
two
she's a
versus
child?
one.
She is no ordinary child.
No, she's only a child. She's tiny, she's delicate, and she cries all the time. Go on, run away.
But...
Remember where we met Marlone?
So you
Go and sit
you,
there.
you kind of have a
Have a sandwich too.
arguing
You are entirely
perspectives. Uriah's saying she's not just a child.
Passes by, get his attention. But don't cry or you'll put Marlone in a tight spot. Go on now.
don't do it, okay?
Where Urias is saying no, she's
Don't do it.
actually a powerful
Don't do
fighter.
what? I know get kids sometimes.
You are not intimidated in the least.
This would be funny if Urias had kids,
I know
and
that you're some sort
and
of challenger,
even
but
though
you
he's
don't
looking
dying or
for
anything.
fights, but he also treats
Do you mean to
was
say that
like
you
really
can
nice
kill
to
me?
Luna.
Me? Urias Formond?
No, I'm saying I'll
A
try to
vampire
avoid killing
with kids he really loved kind of would be
Oh, I see.
out of the
So you
general
could
folklore of
handle this attack
vampires.
of mine.
While they may
I
sire
enjoy you.
children
I
and
approve
other
of your
vampires,
power.
often
Now show me
that
your
their
thirst for
vampires are supposed to be
victory.
soulless creatures that
Well,
only
not to
care
make
about
it long,
themselves for the most part.
longer.
Then now is the time to recover it. May our revelry begin.
You could tell a pretty interesting vampire story, actually, if there was like an entire clan of vampires where they really cared about each other and they were just trying to survive and had to drink blood of humans to do that. But there's basically no example of that except for maybe Twilight.
Something's going to happen to him.
Maybe you could argue Twilight.
Dear, is something wrong?
Hey,
Something happened, didn't it?
that strong guy fought the old man.
I don't know the details, but it seems that Nicola has caused you some sort of trouble.
Now what? What do I do? How come I ran away? It was so nice, but I did it anyway.
Oh, it's all right, miss.
She
I'll
definitely
just
has a
this
self-blaming streak in her,
Really?
which makes sense.
matter. Yes, into formation.
So it would be nice if we had a
You have authorization
character growth.
to release the second restraints. Follow the trail of Nicola Adele and attempt to pacify the situation. Our
Here we
protection
go.
unto you.
Once again have an underling in male and female form.
Who's that? Are they nice?
Oh yes, they're my associates. Everything is fine.
And if they release the second restraints, then does that mean that the Escamaldi have
To eat.
like
Oh,
really powerful magic that they're always
He told me
limiting?
to eat. He said I have to eat. Him and me are monsters, but he said I wasn't a monster, so
you are in no way a monster, young lady, and neither is Nicola. There are no such things in this world.
but
Then explain the wolf
I
guy
don't get it. I don't get it.
or the magical creatures.
I'm gonna go now. Go to where the old man is.
Ah, miss, when you see Nicola, please give him this.
What is this? A stone?
Please hand it to Nicola. He'll be happy when he sees it.
Okay. See you later.
I kind of wonder if this
She's
Camaldi
acting quite
is
alike
taking
to Nicola.
donations / bribes to
Even
get the
still,
ore, the
things
field
seem to be
feed
getting
to
out of
Nicola.
order. Could that mean that the hour has finally come?
Yeah, you're definitely running into a problem here though, that you have Nicola who can't really be a character because he's half asleep half the time, and then you have Marlon who can't be really a main character because he's not in the picture half the time. So then that just leaves you with Luna, and Luna's story is going slowly, to say the least. There's not much more you can say.
Thanks, Nicola. You really helped me.
Nah, it's nothing. I might have given you an earful, but, well... Anyway, I hope things go well for you.
Old man!
Luna? Luna, didn't I tell you to wait?
But I heard lots of shouting. I was worried about you. Huh? Oh, it's the dragon guy.
So he was one of your acquaintances? I knew he wasn't from around here. Relax now.
It's kind of surprising that they don't just
Between you and him, your world
If
seems
they
like a
just-
rough place.
bring all the main characters to the Escamaldi.
Did you fight with the dragon guy? What about the vampire?
Him? Oh, he went off somewhere. I tried to activate, but I couldn't. And then the folks from Escamali showed up, spoiled the whole thing. And just when I thought it was over, the dragon showed up. I only fought him out of pity.
Are you okay, old man?
I'm fine. That vampire was strong, so I'm just feeling a little rough around the edges.
I guess the thing we want to look from
People
here
die all the time.
is if she starts calling him
But not
like
me.
Big Brother
Don't
instead
need
of
to make
old
that
man,
face.
because then
What face am I making?
that would probably
I can't
imply
tell.
that they are intentionally
Like you're about to
localizing
cry.
I'm not
this,
gonna cry.
trying to be more accurate.
I don't believe it for a second. You cry all the time.
Interesting that the Blade Rights are attacking him also.
They just keep on coming today. Hi, Luna.
No,
Quite the little princess.
those people are scary. You might die.
I'm not going to die.
And she hasn't given the
Saying
rock
that
to
won't do
him,
much
the
good.
core.
You're a stubborn little one. don't get hurt. I really don't enjoy this kind of thing. I'm going to punch for real, so don't get caught in the middle.
I'll be fine. Sorry, Mother and Father. Help me out just a little bit.
Yep. Story just not moving very fast enough.
Pain, but you just won't quit, will you? Pathetic. I can't stand that sort of thing.
We're still not getting any revelation
Lurk around
at
if you
all.
want, but quit sticking your
And
nose in my business already.
I feel like we might get revelations with Yuan's story if he is still an added character that wasn't originally here.
It's just one
Otherwise, we're
thing
just gonna
after
get
another.
all the revelations in the second
Who are those
chapter,
people?
which really is just like
I
bad
can't tell
writing.
their true colors yet.
To have an entire chapter
Gotta just
with
leave me
8
alone.
different
Too worried all
alternate
the time.
tales and have no resolution at all.
Oh, I'm just
Imagine
talking to
if
myself.
you're
Anyway,
reading
that seems to be the last
like a series of books and you had to read
All this
8
noise made me
books
work up an
before you
appetite.
could read
What
the
do you say
9th
we go
book
somewhere
that
else?
combined the events of the 8th books,
I'm useless
8
at
previous
these
books, and finishes the story. That would be insane. I don't think there's anything like that.
What do you mean?
Don't worry about it. We should go find someone
Maybe you
else.
can make an
Too
argument
many
that some
people
of
around
the
here anyway. I don't
Game of
feel like
Thrones books
taking a nap.
linearly build upon each other, and you should read the whole listing, or the Harry Potter books work that way, I think, too. A lot of book series work that way, frankly. Most of them, I bet. But if there are any alternate stories or secondary, non-important stories in a book series, it's usually just 1 or 2 to complement the mainline stories. It's not 8 different stories.
Back up the hill I go.
Hey, do you live on that hill?
More or less. I sleep at Marlone's when it's raining, though.
Don't you have a house?
Nah, not anymore. I lost it a long time ago.
Me too.
I don't know why
I
they
don't have a
wouldn't
house either. Not anymore.
put him up
Maybe in
somewhere.
time.
You're
Like,
gonna break my heart.
But it's true. It all happened because I was bad.
You came to this world to save your mother and father, didn't you?
Yeah. I heard that
We're,
Mother and
like,
Father
really
died because of me, but I can't do
late in
anything
the
about
story before he even starts to think about helping her.
it. I wanted to help Mother and Father, but I didn't want to be alone. You know,
You can't really use necromancy. Or maybe you use it a little too well. That Rowan fellow from earlier, he's worried about his own power. It doesn't matter whether you wish for it or not. There's nothing quite as bad as having too much power. I already let that guy know. I guess I'll fill you in too. How to deal with more power than you can handle, that is.
really?
Well, I've always had to have a way to deal with my power. Maybe I'm still not that great. But anyway.
Were you sad too, like me?
I
There were
feel
times when
like
I was sad, but I'm not so active anymore. Now I make
self-loathing can only last so long, but it could certainly last for
and I sure don't want
for
you to.
years and years.
That'd be the end. But you wouldn't even be able to end it all.
There's a slight
With words.
difference from being told you're bad over and over again and
Alright.
thinking it yourself. And
Mother, Father, I'm sorry for
in
hurting
Luna's case, she was
you. And you too, old
she
man.
took the message, or was either directly told that she was bad
So let's begin.
by the evil heiress in the first chapter. But if there was somebody that was constantly berating her, she would probably rebel a lot faster.
Mother. Father.
And there might even be an aspect there where
You can try and try,
people
but
that
you can't hold it in.
continuously try to tell her she's not bad, and she's just going to rebel and ignore
I
that.
just wanted to help Mother and Father. So why
Too little, so your power and emotions are bound together, and you can't hold your emotions back. So your emotions and your power both explode all at once.
No. No.
I talked to Rowan about reason. Now I'm going to talk with you about your emotions.
Emotions?
Your power is more or less inseparable from your emotions. Anger, sadness, hatred. Those emotions are what's driving your power. It's hard to control them, so you don't hold them in. You fill them up.
So
Them up?
she needs to let go of
You don't want to
her emotions.
So even though you want to get away from your mother and father, you don't.
It's my fault. I knew it was.
Well, yeah, but that's just the way things go. You're a kid after all.
What should I do? Should I die? That won't even help, will it?
Hey, that's enough of that talk. If it's loneliness that's causing the problem, then you only need to get rid of the loneliness. Suppose it's the solitude that's binding your parents. Then to free your parents, you need to free yourself from the solitude. Most likely.
So, stop being lonely? How?
There are lots of different ways. You could make friends or find a special someone, but you're too young for that. Well, anyway, find someone who can be together with you.
Together with me? Luna, you should come with us. You could get hurt if you're all alone.
Yeah, Arissa tells her to come with us, and then none of these people seem to care
How come you're hugging me?
about her at all, really,
There you go.
when
Have a
they
pat
got
on the head.
separated.
There isn't anybody. I'm bad. I'm a monster.
Didn't I tell you that you're not? You're just a normal little girl. A normal little girl like any other.
Normal little girl who knows
should I
how
make
to
friends?
do
I can't
necromancy.
kill them, can I? Because once you kill someone, that's it. They're gone.
She is
How to make friends, huh? Well,
she is probably fairly crazy.
You don't. But
She was probably
isn't
crazy
that nice
before
about your friend?
before the fact.
Marlon, he just likes taking care of people. He's a bit of an eccentric.
So, are you lonely too?
Yeah. No. Well, probably not.
Do you want to be friends then?
Huh? So that's where this was going.
Does that mean no?
It's not a no. It's just that well, I'm really pretty broken.
You don't want to be friends? Well, I don't want to be friends either. I hate you.
You sure love to pout. Okay, we're friends.
Really?
I didn't see this coming. But really.
Yay! Yes! You're my very first friend then!
Yeah, and I totally believe that she has been just trapped
Terrible.
in the forest with her parents this whole time
Right.
and has
Friends now,
absolutely
so
no
I'll
social
give this to you.
skills.
Is this some sort of ore? Why do you have this?
That nice guy gave it to me.
So you got this from Marlon? He sure has a way with people. No, but wait. In that case, shouldn't you have given this to me earlier?
Yep.
Yeah, here you go.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go. You're going up to the hill, right? You have to play with me there.
This is my reward for playing the hero. What did I get myself into?
And see, this would almost be an interesting point to write Luna out of the story too, is just have her and Nicola stay together in this world, since you really can't do too much with her, and then bring in a different necromancer character. It would be nice to have a story
Hey, let's play.
where the main characters
Peppy all of a sudden.
come in and go out, and it's
How do you like
it's
to play?
about the general
Huh? Well,
attempt
I sleep and I knock people walking through town.
to
with this guy.
defeat the keepers, and so
Boring.
it doesn't matter.
Hide and seek.
It doesn't really even matter if none of the original heroes survive to the final battle, the journey still is the important part where the keepers must be defeated.
But how am I supposed to protect you while you're hiding?
Don't you want to play?
There's plenty of
It's not that.
there's plenty of TV shows like that where an actor wants too much money or becomes a problem, and they write him out of the story and replace him with someone else.
1, 2, 10.
And that sometimes works, although then you also run into like the long running series like Sliders, where the characters were changing far too often,
You're another outworlder.
where you could have basically the Stargate team where those characters changed a little bit, but they weren't
I don't know what you're saying.
weren't
I'm playing with my
really
friends, so go away.
really that bad.
You've been judged a dangerous element and will be.
And then of course there's plenty of shows where nobody gets written out of the
Stop
story.
making such a scary face. I just want to play with my friend.
And yet they still are making it seem very much like the Counter Solari are the bad guys.
Get out of the way.
Necromancy.
And you'd think the Counter Solari would want the Counter Solari would want necromancy.
It's you.
Nicola Adele, the Forbidden Guild.
Listen, you stay away from me. It's not like I go meddling in your business.
All obstacles to our founding mission will be removed. That's all.
And see, these characters have like very more evil,
I really wasn't set on winning, but still.
like they have a much more evil voice
That
now than they did in Erica's story.
Strong enough for you?
And they're talking, so that doesn't feel like these are the brainwashed characters.
So it's beginning.
Are you all right?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm okay. Who was that person? Do you know him?
He's a hide-and-seek pro. I'd be happy if his friends would stay hidden, but it looks like they really want to play.
That's an interesting translation.
No,
And we still don't know what that sound is.
this is bad.
Hey, there was just a big noise in the town.
Why does it have to end up like this? Maybe I shouldn't be here with Luna.
I'm scared. What's happening?
It's a war. It's the human, stupid, pointless, and cruel war.
Maybe Nicola is like stuck in like a time loop too. That might be something. But yeah, you once again,
The past cannot
just
be wiped away.
no conclusion to the
Present is
story,
made of crossing
just
paths.
leaving everything on a cliffhanger.
Though their
And it would have been
flesh
really,
may be
really
near,
annoying
their
if you
hearts are
couldn't
distant.
jump to the
The
next
sun
chapter,
and moon never align, but
because
simply
it
vie
was
for the
like
same
delayed
throne.
by a month or even longer in
Fate
when
is
it
like the
was
water that
originally
flows.
released.
Human wills are like tree leaves at the mercy of the wind, fluttering
And
between
we still
hope
don't know
and
who this
despair.
narrator's voice is.
A power beyond human
Although it's probably
understanding
Nerva.
casts fate into disarray, and accursed fortunes manifest. Thus came the time of war.
And I guess the general idea is
Blood
that
and flame,
Nerva
smoke and
knew that
rubble,
this
life
this
upon life.
world was on the verge
What
of
do the guided
war.
ones see beyond a heartless war?
So Nerva probably brought them over to this new land so that they'd get caught up in the war. And that's just going to leave Urias, Eris, and Yuan And we kind of know Uriah's story. He's just going to run around fighting people. We have not seen Eris except for in maybe the Dragoncraft story, I think. That was the only time we saw her. And Yuan we saw for a brief moment in Erica's story, but that was it. So, 3 more hours of this, and then we can go to the conclusion, which will probably be 12 chapters, and then it's perhaps half as long to do Gears of Rebellion and Gears of Rebellion Uprising, and then Seeds of Conflict Harrowing, and then Invaders of the World Reaver. All these might be shorter, which honestly I'm kind of glad that it seems like they got the message that the main story was just too long. There is this chance that Invasion of the World Reaver and whatever chapters might unlock after finishing Invasion of the World Reaver will potentially what's the right way to say it, be much better written. Meanwhile, I'm still doing these daily quests, which I can go ahead and claim these. The Code Geass anime crossover. So we'll get another pack of cards. So these skins. These are skins of cards that we already have though, so it would be kind of weird. And then you also have this weird thing where I've got almost 6,000 points, but I don't know how I'm going to get the next 10,000 points, because the way the quests are now, I've done everything except for 500 points here and 2,000 points here, which is beating the elite character Charles, which you can only play once per day, although you can practice, so maybe you could clear the missions and practice, because you can just like click on this guy and select the deck and play. So maybe what once per day means actually doesn't even mean you can fight him once per day. Maybe it actually means that you can only defeat him once per day. That'd be interesting. But I have yet to find a strategy that actually takes him all out. He's strong, and frankly those quests are cheating, like in all honesty, because they've been scripted on specific turns to give specific cards to the opponent by the looks of it. Let's open one more pack, and then I think I want to see if we can actually look at our collection and see how much progress we've really made. We still have a ton of cards to get, absolutely, but you get 6 cards with a pack, and none of the cards I've seen have ever been just absolutely pointless, horrible cards. They often are just kind of repeated cards. So, for instance, we have Savoring Slash, deal 3 damage to an enemy follower, Burial Rite, draw a card. We've got that before. Reclusive Ponderer, accelerate 1, draw a card, ambush. Otherwise, I think we had 1 copy of that. Fairy Assault, I think we had 1 copy of that. Pompous Summons, which, yeah, last time I saw this I did want to zoom in, but still really can't zoom in. Also, in all fairness, I'm looking at the monitor on a TV 10 feet away, so even when I do this, my eyes aren't right in front of a monitor, so you're not going to get that high resolution imagery. Put a random Swordcraft follower in your deck from your hand. Rally, put 2 Swordcraft followers in your hand instead. Here we have Creative Conjurer. Fanfare: if there's no allied Earth Sigil amulets in place, summon Earth Essence, otherwise perform Earthright, put a Golem summoning into your hand. What does a Golem summoning look like? Earth Essence, we seen. Golem summoning is a 2. Summon a Guardian Golem if you have 20 or less cards in your deck, evolve it. I've yet to find a strategy where you can ensure this condition, but I guess if you were playing Runecraft, you could probably play a lot of cards that draw more cards, or which is what you would need to do. There is at least one like high tier 10th turn card that would eliminate almost all the cards in your deck, but that's way overkill. We have another Tropical Gruber, which has summon a Tropical Gruber if you enhance it for 4 during your turn. Whenever an allied follower evolves, summon another Tropical Gruber. So potentially you could have quite a lot of them. Although since you only have room on your playfield for 5 things, amulets, relics, or characters, minions, the strategy does not get anywhere as insane and overkillish as Magic the Gathering gets, where Magic the Gathering you could potentially have hundreds of cards on the playfield and still not win the game. Even Hearthstone effectively had 6 or 7 monsters on the playfield, plus a slot for the hero ability, really, and a weapon slot. So you're talking about 8 things on the field, whereas Shadowverse has 5 things on the field, plus an evolve button. And it is a consistent evolve button. And I guess, in all fairness, it does have a button in the side that tells you whether you've activated your class condition. Here we have Winged Courier, draw a card. And then we have Empress of Serenity, which there is this danger of a character named something like Empress of Serenity, and that being too close to Nexus, the Keeper of Serenity, or whatever her title would be. This is a Fanfare: summon a Shield Guardian, enhance summon 3 instead, enhance 10, give +3/+3 to all Shield Guardians. And Shield Guardians are 1/1s with ward. So, alright, but not particularly great. So, I wanted to take a moment before we wrap up, and I'm not going to drag this out too much, but I want to go into, well, let's start with this. Here we have Artifact Scan, a 0 that puts 2 on the field. And what does this do? What does this button do? I apparently favorited this card. Okay. I've unfavorited the card. I don't know what that means. And again, it's Japanese. So is there just another artifact scan? Or is this literally a new card using this new skin that I guess maybe will get reskinned at some point, or at least you'll get some alternate art with it at some point, because that does seem really weird to have a promo card that can't be replaced with something else. Oh, wait a minute. Put 2 copies of random allied artifact cards with different names destroyed this match into your hand. Then if you have at least 6 allied artifacts with different names have been destroyed this match, change their cost to 0. This card is also called Artifact Scan, and it's the exact same description. So, okay. That's weird. Because then that implies that this whole system kind of goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I just don't know why that would be the case. Okay, I'm going to come over here to advanced. Guess I can't. I can come over here to rotation, but I can't double click to see specifically what expansion. Okay, wait, it's down here. Just have to scroll down more. So, fortune cards only, and we can change that back to any. So right now we're in the create cards menu, and we definitely still have cards that we don't have at all. But of the 7 pages, there's kind of like a dearth of cards. We're still trying to get a lot of these, but I really am in a place where it might not be doable to craft things with vials because we don't have enough vials, but we kind of are hitting 60, maybe even 70% completion with this most recent expansion. The next expansion will almost certainly have even better luck there. There's also an argument that a lot of these cards could be upgraded to the animated versions, and you could get rid of the non-animated versions, or you could maybe try the other way around, like liquefy the animated versions. You get 30 vials, whereas if you liquefy the non-animated version, you get 10 vials. So if you just don't care about the animations, which, let's face it, the animations aren't much more than just some cheap effects, that kind of would work fairly well. So now if I was to say all sets that are in rotation, where are we at as far as this? Start at the beginning. Page 1, which you can't hold down the mouse button, unfortunately, so you just have to click it. Promos are being considered in rotation, which I guess that makes sense. And yeah, there's 45 pages, and maybe we are hitting about 60%, maybe lower to 50%. The click button still does not want to work. Man. No, I don't know why it's like assuming that this is a touchscreen, and so if my mouse button stays down too long, it doesn't want to, it wants to stutter and click twice. Yeah. So it seems as rotations happen, we're more than likely going to rotate out the cards we don't have. We actually do have a decent collection of cards. It also kind of seems like we're not likely to run into too many more cards that are going to drastically change the gameplay in any way. So I really should just, at this point, start to think about, am I going to build my own decks, or am I going to just go online and look for meta decks that other people have built? And there's probably about half of one and half of the other. I probably will try to build my own decks and then eventually get frustrated and stop doing that. I think there's definitely room here to double up on a lot of these cards that have animations to them also, because like there's really no good reason here to to take up a spot to show that I have 2 copies of this card when I already have 3 copies of the animated version of this card. And one would hope that that all gets liquefied when I finally do click the liquefy button. Which it might be interesting to see how the liquefy numbers would look if we include things that are out of rotation. And it really just will be a matter of how long I play this game, as far as how far back I go and how much of a collection I get. And particularly if Shadowverse manages to just avoid any controversies, this card game might last a little bit better than, say, trying to go back and playing Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering Arena. So yeah, I could, at the moment, liquefy things up to 7,000 vials, which really isn't that much. And if I was to not filter, let's see, just any cards at all, we are at 142, and my mouse wheel actually scrolls these just as nicely as the other ones. And even when you're talking unlimited decks, we feel like I'm probably somewhere around 40%. Perhaps all of those percentages are more indications of I have at least one of the cards, not that I have 3 copies of cards. And a lot of these cards I have as like temporary cards, which is to say that they couldn't be liquefied, which I imagine if you get 3 copies of a temporary card at that point, you that would be an interesting experiment. I imagine you lose the temporary card after you have 3 copies of a card like this. Otherwise it would just be kind of silly, and I would like to be able to recover temporary gems after getting 3 copies of a card that I have temporary on. I wouldn't want the temporary cards to disappear after you get 1 copy of a card, because that would be a little unfair. And there is just a high level of really good cards that are temporary cards that have been given to me as I look at it. Yeah. So we might be at 30 or 40% as far as having unlocked 1 copy of every card, which then might be, since there are 3 copies of that card, somewhere around 3% total collection if you're just trying to have 3 copies of every card in existence. I don't know if you need 3 copies of every card in existence, particularly if you're not going to play in the unlimited field, which I really don't think that there is a good reason for a new player like me to play in the unlimited field ever. There is definitely still just a question about how the game will really feel, and really will just come down to a matter of opinion and how the game feels like it's treating you when the next expansion comes. Because if the next expansion came tomorrow, for instance, which it might, but I think I have at least a week, if not several months, and I threw in 29-30 packs worth of gold to buy the next expansion, and that didn't get me enough cards to maintain or grow any competitiveness, and I that was very obvious to me, that would be disappointing. Or if the next expansion came and there was a lot of cards that just couldn't be gotten through pack opening and had to be acquired through premium currency or some other form of monetization, that would be pretty bad too. Yeah. And some of these pages, really, there are just like 2 cards that have been collected, so there's still a lot of work to go. We did everything past 50 there, and I think that's as good a place as any to stop. Okay, well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.